You know, when you look at the AI headlines from this past week, you might see 5 totally separate stories. But what if they're not separate at all? What if they're all connected, telling one single massive story about an entire ecosystem that's evolving at a dizzying speed? Let's connect the dots.
So first up, we've got a major AI company suing the US government. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a huge showdown over one critical question. Who gets to decide what's safe?
Then there's this new workplace phenomenon they're calling AI brain fry. And spoiler alert, it's not the AI that's getting fried, it's the people trying to keep up with it.
Meanwhile, Meta just made a huge move, snapping up a company that's all about a special kind of AI called agents. You know, AIs that can actually go out and do stuff for you.
And then we get to a story that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie. We're talking about AI agents designing the very computer chips they're going to run on. Pretty wild, right?
And to top it all off, there's this breakthrough from MIT that could literally double the speed of AI training. So let's start by looking at where AI is starting to clash with the real world.
All right, so these first 2 stories really highlight the, let's call them growing pains, right? The friction that happens when this super powerful tech starts bumping up against our real-world systems, like our laws and how we work.
So let's talk about Anthropic. They're the ones behind the Claude AI model, and they are officially suing the US government. And look, this isn't just some small disagreement. This is a big deal. So you're probably asking, why? What's this all about? Well, it seems to have kicked off when the government slapped them with this supply chain risk label. And the reason, reportedly, is because Anthropic flat out refused a request to disable some of the safety guardrails on its AI. They basically drew a line in the sand and said, nope, safety comes first.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because you've got this paradox. On one hand, the government is calling them a risk. But on the other hand, the market is basically giving them a high five. We're seeing more businesses using their AI, more people downloading it. It's like a lot of folks out there actually like their tough stance on safety. So what started as a legal fight is now a massive public debate about who gets to control AI.
Okay, let's switch gears and bring this friction from the courtroom right into the workplace. The Harvard Business Review recently pointed to a study that coined a perfect term for this modern problem: AI brain fry.
And we're not talking about a tiny study here. They surveyed 1,500 workers. These are people who are deep in the trenches, using multiple AI tools every single day to get their jobs done. The big question was, is all this tech actually making things better?
And, well, the findings might surprise you. Instead of making life easier, people reported that jumping between all these different AI tools was just exhausting. It led to more mental fatigue, decision overload, and yep, even more mistakes. But the key thing to understand here isn't that AI is bad. Not at all. It's that the way we're throwing it at people, without a clear strategy, with all these disconnected tools, that's the problem.
So, while we humans are figuring out how to deal with all this, the AI ecosystem itself, it's not slowing down for a second. In fact, it's evolving from the inside out, getting smarter, more autonomous, and way more efficient.
And look no further than Meta for a perfect example. They just acquired this company called Moltbook. Now, Moltbook was basically a social network for AI agents, a place where you could create and use these little autonomous AIs to do tasks for you.
But here's the thing. Meta isn't just buying another app to add to its collection. No, they're absorbing the whole Moltbook team. And their mission? To weave this agent technology deep into the fabric of everything Meta does. We're talking Instagram, WhatsApp, even the smart glasses. The future they're building isn't just an AI that waits for your command. It's an AI that's proactively working for you in the background.
Okay, if you thought that was cool, this next story takes the whole AI building its own future idea to another level. We need to talk about a company called Synopsys. They just rolled out a system called AgentEngineer. And this, folks, is where AI literally starts designing the hardware that it runs on.
And the way it works is just mind-blowing. It's not just one big AI spitting out a design. It's a team of AIs. First, a bunch of them analyze the initial blueprints. Then, and this is the craziest part, they actually debate with each other, challenging ideas and pushing for better solutions. And finally, they collaborate to lock in the most efficient design. It's an entire engineering team, but made of code.
So, what's the result of all this? Well, it's staggering. People using this system are reporting that it's up to 5 times faster than the old way of doing things. Think about that. The chips that power everything could be designed 5 times faster.
The ripple effects from that could be absolutely massive.
All right, last but not least, let's talk about the very foundation, how we train these things. Over at MIT, researchers have found a whole new way to do it. See, normally, to train a big AI model, you need these giant, super expensive server farms packed with GPUs. But what the MIT folks figured out is how to scoop up all the unused computing power that's just sitting idle across different networks, power that was literally just going to waste.
And the result is incredible. They can train an AI model twice as fast without sacrificing any accuracy. Now, what does that really mean? If this technology takes off, it could slash the cost of building powerful AI. It could open the doors for so many more people and companies to get in the game, which would just accelerate everything even more.
Okay, so let's take a step back. We've looked at 5 different stories: a lawsuit, brain fry, an acquisition, chip design, a training breakthrough. What happens when you put them all together? Well, a much, much bigger picture starts to come into focus.
You see, it's all part of one massive, accelerating ecosystem. On one side, you have the human friction, the legal fights over safety, and the real-world challenges of adapting to AI in our jobs. But at the exact same time, you have the ecosystem's internal engine firing on all cylinders. We're talking huge investments in AI agents, AI designing its own hardware, and fundamental discoveries making it all faster and cheaper. Every story we talked about is just one piece of that giant puzzle.
What all this tells us is that the pace of change isn't just fast, it's getting faster on every single front. And that leaves us with the one big question we all need to be thinking about. As this acceleration keeps building momentum, what's the next big domino to fall? To make sure you're here when we cover it, go ahead and subscribe.